a quick tack on real quick. The video I made yesterday about mom monster versus baby boy monster. Technically, I made 2 videos yesterday, and I started uploading 2 videos yesterday. One uploaded, one's still getting there. So I kept my promise. It's coming. In case this one goes up first, or ends up being uploaded first. So real quick before I finally managed to grab a shower, because I managed to get some propane from my tank. Oh my goodness, honey. I've got kittens crawling around everywhere. Little funny thing, little added side note for the argument about mom monster. So I actually relayed this to Quinn in the barn using the sea cows, the wild dune cows that live out on the beach there, as an example. Not long after Jeremy Edwards, the barn manager, left, and I have conversation between myself and Jeremy to prove this, or at least that we spoke about it. The sea cows started really inching in on the barn. I guess they didn't hear Jeremy yelling around the barn, and he was probably one of their main sources of fear up in there. And it got pretty bad. They were starting to just walk right up and eat hay out of the horses' hay mangers from the outside part of the stalls, drink out of their water troughs, so on and so forth. And it's like, they have all the dunes to range on. These horses can only eat and drink what we give them, because they're trapped in a little enclosed space. And also they would, they'd just bed down around the barn. It got to the point where they clearly weren't scared of hearing Jorge and I, or Quinn in the barn. They didn't distance themselves or anything. And I was like, the next step is they're going, as soon as we open the back gate to this barn, they're going to come trotting in, pushing past us to try to get to the hay we have right in here. And bales and bales, a bunch of bales of hay we typically keep just inside the back side of the barn, and just inside that gate. Because I know enough about animals, big animals particularly, like they are, if they don't think there's anything to fear from you, they'll walk right past you to the food. So you have to maintain it. That's what I said to Jeremy. I've been explaining to Jorge and Quinn that we have to maintain the expectations of the cows just as much as we maintain the expectations of the horses, or the cows would just start trotting right into the barn and eating the hay. So for a while there, until they took off to other islands because of stormy weather and stuff, for a while there, Quinn and I would, like in between duties, try to scare off the cows and keep them at a reasonable distance away from the barn. And like, it got to the point where we would start taking hay out to the horses, the 3 horses we had outside in the outside stalls, and some of the cows, including the little calf, would start running up like it was feeding time for them too. And I was like, we can't have this. Nobody needs to have to deal with a herd of cattle thinking that there's nothing to fear, trying to trample you to get inside the barn and get to the food in there. So I remember my dad's side of the family, they had a lima bean farm. They were dairy farmers too. So I think managing cattle might be a little in my blood. I don't know. I'm only 1 generation removed. My dad was dealing with cattle and such. But I know enough about, animal nature and big animals, and to put 2 and 2 together, you go like, the next step is these cows are going to walk all over us. So I was telling Quinn that, I was like, we need to make sure we go out of our way to scare these guys off. So we'd like pick up big sticks, or like there's this one switch stick whip or whatever, and wave it around out there and like yell at them until they get lost. And Quinn at one point was like, yeah, watch out for that bull. Watch out for the bull right there. I was like, I'm not scared of the bull, dude. I was like, no, you know who I'm going to keep an eye on is Mama right there. Because there was a mom cow. And this is the type of species. Some types of cows, the moms have horns too. The females have horns too. And this was that type. So the mom with horns, who had a fairly new calf, and another one that was like maybe a year to 2 years old, but still falling around, still nursing from her. So she had a couple of babies. One was particularly young. So I was like, I'm worried more. I'm more worried about Mama right there, because if she thinks that we're going to hurt one of her babies, she'll come after us over and over again, till she thinks that we're either good and scared away, or we're dead. I was like, I've seen actual bullfights in Spain, dude. That bull right there will maybe try to take 1 or 2 passes at us, and then get bored and go back to trying to eat some grass. They literally have to goad bulls into fighting in a lot of bullfights. I was like, because males be lazy. And even Quinn had to concede that. He was like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right, we are. And then he was like, yeah, and you're right, the male bull is freaking lazy. He's like, my dad was scared of it. And I was like, yeah, well, I know better. I know enough about moms to know better. That bull is next to useless. For anything other than breeding purposes, and maybe occasionally scaring off a coyote. But yeah, so I was pointing out to Quinn, like, if there's one cow around here you need to worry about, it's that mom. If she thinks for a second that you're really going to hurt one of her babies, you better watch out. She's going to come at you and you're going to have a horn up your ass. So yeah, and that's very, very, that's just the way it is, guys. That's just the way it is. Oh my goodness, hi Pudge. This is my Pudge. This is one of the kittens I adopted. He was one of a litter of 4, and I was actually going to adopt his sister, who's a gray, long-haired, white, mostly white, gray calico. Where is she? She's scampered off somewhere. I was going to adopt her and another calico, a darker calico, black calico in the litter. And somehow, mysteriously, oh my, we have to give you another flea bath. We really do. I gave these guys like buku flea bath before I ever took them out of the house that I adopted them from. But still, there's still a couple I'm seeing on them because they were covered. Poor babies. That's how my last kitten, the one that got eaten by coyotes, that's how I found her too. She's malnourished and flea infested. So I haven't come up with a proper name for this one yet, but right now I'm just calling him Pudge. He's a cutie. Buddy. And Perseus, their big brother, you can see him sleeping there on the couch. He straight up just sits off to the side and lets them eat first and watches them and watches over them now. He's like their big brother daddy or something. He's so sweet. He's a good boy. One of the tricks is you have to make sure if you're introducing a new animal, new kittens or cat or dog to one that you already have established in the family, you have to make sure that you give them no less, the one that you already have, you give them no less food and cuddles and stuff, particularly during the transition phase when you're getting them used to, because if they start to think like there's going to be less food for me, there's going to be less snuggles from mama, then they're going to be more inclined to be territorial and maybe want to kill the little kittens you're bringing in. Because it's like, there's only enough of mama to go around and I'm going to kill you so you don't take my mama. So long as he doesn't feel that way, as long as he understands, no, there's enough food to go around. Mama will make sure we eat. No, mama will cuddle all of us the same and love us all the same. I still get all my cuddles from mama. Then it's just a matter of these kittens are kind of annoying sometimes, and it's already gone from that to like he's just bemusedly watches them play and steps aside and lets them eat. Like he'll start eating and then they'll come up, and I have separate bowls, but they still are like, I'm gonna eat out of your bowl. and they'll come up and start eating right out of his bowl. And if they had done, like, if they had done that on the first day, he probably would have swatted at them at the very least. But now he just he literally just stops and watches and kind of steps aside and just watches them eat and lets them eat first. You did a good boy. So, that should tell you something. Like, extrapolate that outwards. Do you think maybe there would be a lot less war if everyone had enough, at least enough? Just saying. Like, what was this new one with Russia? When's America going to take a break? Because apparently, well, not apparently, if you read a history book on the history of the United States of America, we've been going to war, like roughly an average of every 10 years for like the last 2 centuries, or getting ourselves embroiled in a war. How about we sit this one out? Let's see if we can do it, America. Let's hit this one. Let's let Ukraine and Russia figure it out for themselves. They're adults, aren't they? They're adult countries, aren't they? I feel bad. I'm sure there are people suffering and dying over there. There are people suffering and dying over here too, and all over the world. I feel like at this point we might just make it worse. Let's sit this one out. Let's see if they can't handle it on their own. We don't have to be the hall monitor for the whole world. Not always. Let's see. Let's see if they can't fucking do it themselves. All right? Like, do we have to freaking be in a war every 10 years? That shit is ridiculous. And then you bitch and moan and whine, and you guys are all like happy to go sign up for this shit and spur it on, but then you bitch and whine and moan about the state that society's in. It's like, gee, I wonder how much of that is because of these wars that you're more than happy to go sign up to fight for, or like rally other people to go fight for. Like, lots of other more important wars out there to be fought, like against the pedophile rings, the pedophile networks. You understand that there are pedophile networks out there, right? You understand there are networks out there of people who don't have any sexual attraction to children whatsoever, but will still traffic in children because they're cold-hearted bastards. And they see everything as an asset. They might be sexually attracted to women or men, but they'll still sell a child into sexual slavery because they just want their dollar. The dollar bills, y'all. You understand that too, right? Like, we're not just dealing with people who are sexually attracted to children. We're dealing also with people who don't give a shit one way or the other, as long as they're getting their money. They'll feed into that too, absolutely. So, like I said, if you're dealing with like a network of people that's, let's say, somewhat organized, let's say they're a cult, they have like a belief system attached to their actions and their organization. And there are members and they have a unified goal. You're not just dealing with the actual members of that network. You're also likely going to be coming up against an army of people that consists of some of their family members, some of their friends, their business partners, and any little toadies along the way that are willing to do anything it takes to get a leg up in society, like get a green card, get a few $1,000s. Lots of people out there who you would think are good people, who would like to think that they are good people, would feed into that one way or another, and then pretend that they didn't do anything wrong and come up with whatever bullshit excuse they have to alleviate their conscience about it. This is easy to understand by thinking about how the mind of an addict works. Almost everyone out there is addicted to something. They have some kind of crutch, something. Tobacco, alcohol, shopping, eating, Facebooking. Something that you just do all the time. You put a ridiculous amount of focus and energy and resources and money into. And it's not really doing anything for you. It's just alleviating stress or what have you, or taking you out of your head and making you feel better for a little while. Addictions. They say, and this is very true, it doesn't matter how smart you are as an addict. Like, intelligence does not necessarily denote whether or not you'll be an addict or if you'll recover or get better. If you'll be able to break your addiction. Intelligence does not dictate that. You can have very, very, very intelligent addicts, and I have seen this. And all the intelligence, all that added intelligence, all that means is they will come up with way more clever, intelligent sounding excuses for why they should be allowed to get that next hit of whatever it is they want, whatever it is they're addicted to. That's all that means. It does not necessarily mean that they will be intelligent enough to not get addicted to something, to recognize that they're addicted to something, to break their addiction, to whatever, to get better, to recover. Nope. Very, very, very highly intelligent people have spent their entire lives addicted to substances because they come up with all kinds of excuses. I'm addicted to tobacco still. I still smoke cigarettes well past the time that I decided I should definitely stop. And I know that this is definitely not good for me. I'm a very intelligent person. And even though I have no more excuses left and I know better than to give them, I still haven't stopped. Because, well, it is a matter of like, my life's so freaking hectic. I can't imagine adding one more stressor. And I know that stopping smoking, stopping something that I've been habitually doing damn near every day for years. I only took a break from it when I was pregnant, and I was going to break from it permanently then. But, like a month after we lost my daughter, started back up again. Stupid. However, I know better. I know way better. I'm still doing it, aren't I? What do you think? Now that we've uncovered that little, you're just going to make excuses for yourself. That little nugget of truth. Extrapolate that out into people being approached by this network to help them, members of this network, or who don't even realize what they're doing is, a lot of them won't even realize, like, I did a favor for him. He asked me to just go open the back door and leave it open, and that's what I did. They don't even necessarily have to know what they're contributing to. But then there are plenty who will know, or be able to be smart enough to kind of suss it out, or have it pointed out to them even. And they won't necessarily want to contribute to it, but they still will. For whatever reason. Let's say they've been working towards this, a raise, a position, being positioned higher in the business or whatever for years. And let's say that they find that happening is contingent upon them keeping it quiet, that their boss likes to frequent a child brothel or something like that. I don't know. Or, let's say it's I'm trying to think of a good example. What will happen? It'll probably more likely be they will get you used to something that you would lose if you tattled. Then you'll come up with excuses. Why? Like, so you worked hard for this thing, the nice house, the cushy paycheck, the good house, the nice car, so on and so forth. And what if you found out that that was all, you know, you're getting all that money from somebody who, I don't know, likes to jet off to Asia to pay little boys, like, to have sex with them? You gonna turn your boss in? He's the one that's giving you all the money for your cushy life, and you worked so hard for it. You won't be able to get your Starbucks lattes. You'll have to sell your pretty house. You won't be able to afford that nice car. You'll have to get a junker. You'll have to move out of the neighborhood you like so much. Say goodbye to your Netflix subscription. You think you might, I don't know, come up with every excuse in the book why you should be able to look the other way. And why you're still a good person. That shit happens all the time, actually. More often than you'd like to think. A lot of the power and backing behind these networks is not even the people actually engaging in the acts of abusing children themselves. It's not even them. A lot of the power behind these networks are the people who are helping them because they're weak-willed, they lack integrity, they're too attached to their cushy lifestyle and all the little shinies that come along with it. So they'll just look the other way and come up with excuses for themselves. That's the sad truth of it. I should end this one. This was supposed to be actually a very short one, but it turned out I don't seem to be able to make a short video because I'm a talker.